legitimate reason to gripe. She's got a legitimate excuse, in my personal opinion, with my hair all fucked up. She truly does. What she's going through ain't right. The fact that she's going through it at all is not right. The fact that she's trying to do it herself is stupid. You can't do it by yourself. You have to work together with somebody. That's why it's important to find other victims of your predators, and work together with them. You know, that's the thing. We could have stopped Ted Bollinger a long time ago. If Natalie and Alicia Bollinger and Rose M. Kelly and Danica Garner and Rochelle Shelley Campbell had all come forward, and the things that they had told me, if they'd have told the police, they would have made sure that Ted Bollinger legit went to prison for the things that he did. You guys don't want to look at the evidence of them driving me to the point that I wanted my life to end, that I was begging people to kill me before Natalie died. I'd been begging for over a year. You guys wouldn't say, oh, you're mentally ill because you want to die. No. You have no idea what those fucking people put me through, because you know what? None of these web sleuth groups care. The courts don't care. The cops don't care. The media doesn't fucking care. Nobody cares, so that makes it okay. And that is the point. That is what everybody is shown loud and clear. They don't fucking care. As long as it's not happening to them, they'll sure say the words. They'll say those pretty words, but they're going out of their way to literally avoid the situation. I got to go to the same assholes over and over again. Because I don't have a guardian, these crimes continue to happen. Because I don't have a guardian, nobody looks and nobody listens. Because I don't have a guardian, I got to go to my predators for help. I'm repeatedly told by law enforcement to do things that law enforcement knows it's illegal to tell me to do, but they know they'll get away with it. It's the 3 determining questions. Do you have any friends? Do you have any family? Where do you live? If you answer those questions wrong, they're not going to listen to you. If you don't have friends and you don't have family, and you admit to that, well, you're 2/3 of the way from getting pounced on. Where do you live? I'm homeless. Click. Whether or not they take it seriously, because in all these situations, you get to hear what they're saying. You know, it's bullshit. But unless you care, they get to continue to do it. I get that there's a lot of people on drugs out here. I really do. Now, Chelsea, you know, she does have a legitimate gripe with what she's going through. As far as other people not helping her and all that shit. But what she doesn't understand is it has to be together. Don't make calls for me. Make them with me. Make sure that the right thing is done. But you can't do that, can you? No, it's only your way. And see, while people want to pretend that I throw tantrums because I never get my way, well, I never get my way. I'm always doing it the way everybody else wants to, instead of doing it the way that the lawyers said that I needed to. And of course, when I suggest that we do it the way the lawyers say it to do it, how am I treated? No, all of a sudden everybody's a pocket lawyer. They're witnesses to the situations that I was in, the situations that I spoke about, the fact that the things that Natalie Marie Bollinger, the things that she wrote down in that final public post were outright lies. There are witnesses to every part of that show it's fucking false. I've recorded many of those witnesses. But you guys were so busy trying to cover for the fucking criminals, for the actual predators, for the people who made my life a living hell for an entire year before Natalie was killed. And while I was trying to get help, how was I treated? Not very fucking good. See, that's the thing about when a man is being abused. You tell him he just needs to man up. You wanted it, needed it, chose it, or deserved it. You refuse to listen to him. You say that you'll help, and then you're busy off doing drugs or having sex. That's what's important to you. And then, of course, I get abused as if I'm some sexual predator because I tried to get help. You're treated like I'm a stalker for trying to get help. But meanwhile, who cares? Nobody, right? It's not like I'm a black man in a house. If I was a black man in a house, look at Zayd Atkinson. Wasn't even his house. But because he lived there, yeah, all of a sudden it's magically wrong to do the things that, well, Boulder Police Department in Wayland Lolatai did far worse to me. And mind you, Wayland Lolatai pulled a shotgun out on Zayd Atkinson. That's right. You look at that video on 60 Minutes, you see the black man with the shotgun. That's Officer Wayland Lolatai. You sure it was a race issue? Wayland Lolatai has since destroyed evidence of his wrongdoing and, of course, of his Nazi mentality. Oh, you want to pretend that somebody who is dark-skinned can't have a Nazi mentality? Fact is, all of you guys are 2 paychecks away from being where I'm at. Well, homeless anyway. And that comes with victimization of its own. I am not homeless because I'm some junkie or some druggie. I'm not homeless because I'm some lazy POS who doesn't like to work. I love working. If I had a place to do it, I could sit down and do a lot of different things. But I don't have a place to do it. I have no joy in my life, no pleasure in my life, no familiar faces in my life, and you guys don't even stop to think about what that's like. When I went to my friends for help before Natalie was killed, they treated me completely like shit. They did all of the things that drive a person to suicide and didn't care. When I tried to explain to them so they didn't push myself and others to suicide, they didn't want to listen. They didn't care. They know better than everybody else, don't they? Everybody always knows better than everyone else, don't they? And then you've got these other victims of abuse who want to tell you just to forget about it. No. While you're still going through the abuse, there ain't no forgetting about it. Now, one of the missing people I helped find, her name is Casey. She got a stent in her fucking brain. She needs to get it taken out. She was supposed to have it taken out when she was underage. She should have had it out 8 years ago. There's a shelf life on those things, and the one that's in her brain has been in here for 8 years longer than its shelf life. Helping to find her isn't the only help that she needs. I need somebody's help. I need somebody to not treat it like I just need somebody to listen to me. No, I need someone to listen to me with the intent of helping, with the intent of understanding. And a lot of these people who are frustrated, who have someone, imagine what it's like having nobody. And that's where I'm at. That's my car. That's where I live. There's nowhere for me to take it. There is nowhere for me to live. There's some small 14-day camping spots that I gotta drive miles and miles and miles to go to. My car is fucking falling apart. I cannot take care of myself. The only way that I can ever have a chance at a decent life is to show the evidence that I have in that vehicle. But without civilian oversight, without someone there who actually gives a shit, none of these people are gonna do their jobs. The longer it takes for people to actually care enough to take a look, which, you know, that's a very important thing to note. Yes, it's illegal to do these things to me, but no, nobody cares enough to take a look, so it's not illegal. These cops start off on the wrong foot and force me to try to turn them in, but then again, I can't, can I? I don't have the money. I don't have a place to go. I don't have a place to situate myself or to go through the evidence or to get it sent out to where it needs to go. I don't have a place to do that. I am overwhelmed because I don't have enough hours in a day and I can't possibly do these things myself. It's not just my disabilities, it's the fact that they won't let me. My predators have all preyed on the mentally ill tag to pretend that I am schizophrenic and to use that as an excuse for harming me so they can pretend that I'm making it up. No matter how much evidence there is, without somebody helping me to turn it in, because I don't have the resources to do it myself, it's not going to happen. If all you're going to do is tell me you're sorry and you'll pray for me, or get drunk and yell at your boyfriend, or get messed up on methamphetamines, swallow baggies of it, and then root through your own feces for it, I got all those things recorded on my YouTube channel. Don't do fucked up shit. If you say you're going to help me, you need to actually help me. I told them I couldn't take care of myself from the very start. I explained to all of these people that I needed help because I couldn't take care of myself, that I needed help getting a guardian, getting an actual advocate, because I am being abused over disabilities, first of all, that I don't have, and second of all, the ones that I do have, well, I'm being abused over those too, because here's the thing, they know enough about autism to be able to escalate the situation to guarantee from the start that there's not going to be any sort of effective communication because of fear. They understand it well enough to understand that. That's why they start off with assholes like Rights Dog. There's no need for that. And then they want to repeatedly send you to the places that are not doing their jobs. I'm tired of trying to explain about crimes that are happening to me, for me to be sent from one place to another when these agencies are supposed to work together. Not to deny me my rights, but to help me to have them. Not to deny me my right to legal materials, but to assist me in getting them. And that is what the law says they're supposed to do. When I am being abused, they're supposed to help me. They are supposed to help me. If I am being abused, they're supposed to look at the evidence. And the longer they look away, the more evidence there is. And this is all because of the policies of how they're allowed to treat a homeless and disabled male. I want you to think about what it's like for the females out here when they want to turn in their rapist. Mandy Singer, when she went to go turn her feller in, well, the cops helped her to make sure that happened. And thank goodness. But that's because, like she said, she spoke to an officer who had it out for the guy. So it doesn't matter what your evidence is. They're going to do everything in their power to prevent you from having the right to go to court, to prevent you from having access to the evidence or the right to show the evidence. I was denied those rights. I was literally forced to break the law to try to get court dates, and then I was denied the right to go to my court dates. My public pretenders repeatedly did not show up. They went out of their way to repeatedly extend their trap, but to make no effort to actually get the evidence from Clearview. None whatsoever. No effort whatsoever to get the body cameras from the officers who assaulted me and took part in that whole situation in January of 2018 after Natalie disappeared. That situation never would have happened if even one of these mandated reporters did their job. When you tell them about abuse, especially they are supposed to do something about it immediately. Now here in Oregon, it does say immediately. For Officer Reichstag to start off with threats, harassment, and intimidation, and I don't have the ability to turn him in. I don't have the ability to safely turn him in. I don't have the ability to take care of myself or feed myself. My money's all gone. I don't have the money to get back to the river to turn in the crimes there. I came here on the recommendations of, well, of course, different agencies that I need someone to go in with me. That's the problem. I am disabled. What I needed since day one, all the way going back to before fucking meeting Natalie, is somebody that if crimes are committed against me, I can go to them and we can turn it in. The mentally ill tag means they don't have to do their jobs. Yes, it's illegal, but they can pull it off however they want by pretending that you're mentally ill, schizophrenic, you're making it up. It's part of your imagination. It's your imaginary friend off in La La Land. And then I gotta deal with all these fucking nut jobs still hanging around on my Facebook. They've been told to leave. That's not difficult to do. It's not like they didn't have plenty of warnings. Get off of here or I'll rip you. I mean verbally. You never had any business because you didn't care about the truth. What you cared about was the popularity of your, well, those web nut job groups for the most part. Those are the people that I was able to get to promise to help. They didn't actually help, but they promised to. There should have been somebody involved in that entire process. The thing is, I researched the laws and I've also paid attention to recent law and recent case law, especially in the counties that I was in. You have no idea how incredibly right I am because you never bother to look. Natalie Bollinger isn't the only person who's dead over this. And because the cops and adult protective services want to twiddle their goddamn thumbs for years. I am repeatedly abused into leaving repeatedly, over and over and over again. I still have no one to help me to turn this shit in to make sure that the cops do their fucking jobs. They tell me it is my job to get those things. I can't function. How the hell do they expect me to get those things? It's not even safe for me to drive. But it doesn't matter how many times I say that. You're not going to listen to me until somebody gets into a car accident and dies. I don't want somebody to run into me on the freeway. A family of 6 because I got a crappy car. Or because my body hurts and I'm trying to move myself into a position right at that moment so that I'm not in such severe pain. Or I get one of them bolts of lightning pain that goes up and down my spine. And, you know, that takes me out of it for about 30 seconds. There's also the fact that I'm overwhelmed. I'm afraid for a reason. I'm afraid because these things keep happening. The way these officers treat this situation, the way that adult protective services treated this situation, they're not treating it as an emergency situation. I'm telling them that it is ongoing. They're still not looking. They're not treating it urgently. Now here's the problem. The longer they screw around with me, the more it's going to cost them monetarily. They have no idea the kind of hell that I will fucking tear up if my evidence is lost, stolen, or fucking destroyed. I am sick of this shit. I'm sick of being abused. I'm sick of having to go in alone. I'm sick of being blown off. These agencies are supposed to work together. When there is an issue with one of these agencies, there are recourses I am supposed to be allowed to take as a disabled person that are being denied. Now, researching these laws in Oregon, yeah, there's all sorts of stuff they're supposed to do that they're not doing. The excuse of they don't have the resources, it doesn't matter. If they have the resources to go run around being Nazis to homeless people and locking homeless people up and costing taxpayers a whole bunch of money, especially when most of those people, you're locking them up for stuff that you made legal here in Oregon. You made it legal for people to do those things. Why are you still locking them up? Oh yeah, you get to pick and choose now. Oh, it's a homeless person? Yeah, we can do it him. Chelsea's gripe is legitimate, but it's self-imposed. I offered to work with her, and I tried to work with her in my situation, and the fact that, well, when I needed help, she was one of the many people who wanted to give me lip service, but nothing else. Thought I just needed someone to talk to. I explained, I don't need someone just to talk to. I need someone to speak up. You know me in person, Chelsea. All these people know me in person. And they want to hate me for the person that I have been forced to be because they didn't care. They didn't care when it made a difference. And now, well, having to fess up to that is more than their pride can bear. Oh, how dare Sean admit that I screwed up. Well, actually, I recorded you admitting you screwed up, dumbass. That's why I'm so surprised at you trying to play that whole slander thing after it's already been posted, kind of like Natalie Bollinger. Show me what it is that I said about Natalie Bollinger before she was killed. Show me what part of it was slander. I want to see it. I want to see the part that's slander. I've been waiting on that for years. Oh yeah, but I wasn't allowed to go to court. My rights were denied, and I was taken advantage of because I was homeless and my guilt was just assumed. So they helped out my predator because she was a pretty girly. She was actually a grown-ass adult heroin addict who took advantage of people, but that doesn't matter, does it? She was good to me in real life. She really was. But you know what? Instead of being honest with her family, she did what her family wanted. When her and Alicia were fighting over a boy, and, Natalie was pushing pretty thick there, and so was Alicia, pushing pretty thick there. The love you, but it's not love you, it's I love you, I love you, I love you, all the fucking time. And yes, I love them back, I absolutely do, but if you notice, I also type that stuff to men. I also say that to men, and I absolutely do love them. But you know what? These people think that loving them means that I should keep their secrets and take the abuse over it. No, that's not what love is. That's not what love is at all. Love doesn't mean that I take the abuse because Natalie doesn't want to tell the truth, because she's embarrassed. Her pride is hurt. Loving somebody doesn't mean that you go slander their names and pretend like they threaten to hurt you when you get busted doing something fucked up. When you've treated that person completely like shit for no reason. When you've given them a fucking gift for their birthday that is completely fucked up. Now, I got a question for you. If I stalked them to Virginia, then why was my phone transferred over to Alicia Bollinger's name, to the cricket store that she worked? Why did she take over my phone number? That was on the day that she gave me that phone that Natalie had, the broken one, the one that was the cause of all of this crap to begin with. Now, there's a lot of stuff that happened that I wasn't expecting. I don't get to choose people's assumptions. But when those assumptions result in slander that is getting people physically assaulted and having their lives threatened and the lives of their family threatened, yes, someone needs to fucking step in. Calling somebody mentally ill does not make it okay to fucking threaten to kill them. Tim Beeson? Jonathan Hickson? You guys pretend like I made one of these ones. I only got like a minute and a half into it. It said, he made over a dozen Facebook accounts. No, I only made two. One of them to beg for help getting this shit to stop, and the other one so that I could use it as a legacy account, so that I could destroy my Facebook. So that people like Joanna Taylor Smith wouldn't be able to go on there and get fuel for the fire and use it to harm Natalie and Alicia and Maddie, which was her intention if I killed myself. They just wanted to talk over me and tell me how to think and how to feel. And you know what? When somebody is trying to turn in their predators, there is a limited amount of time, and you wasting their time by telling them not to turn it in. No, they came to you because they need help turning it in. That's what they came to you for, not for you to try to talk them out of it. Your advice is always to try to talk me out of it, isn't it? Or tell me to do it alone. A lot of you guys encourage me, but you only encourage me to do it alone. You're not helping me to do it. You may promise that you're going to help me do it, but in the end, you don't. If Chelsea had spoken up way back at the very beginning, things could have been different, and probably would have been. Any one of these people who was actively involved in the situation before Natalie was killed, people like Brandon Ratner, people like Laura Nelson, people like Brenda Dickinson, each and every one of them knew their part, and they knew their part to be true. Preservation of evidence is the most important here, and a lot of predators have gotten away because I had been threatened, harassed, intimidated, and repeatedly assaulted for trying to turn in the evidence, and literally my predators have been able to gain access to it repeatedly, especially officers. Before Natalie was killed, I needed help keeping me safe and her safe. And Natalie Bollinger, as well as the police and my friends, guaranteed that that would never happen. Not for her or for me. Her predators were trying to convince her that I was a bad guy. I was trying to get help because her predators were being predatory towards me. Her customers were being predatory towards me. Her boyfriends and ex-boyfriends were being predatory towards me. Maddie Boa and her customers were being predatory towards me. Natalie and Alicia were nice. They absolutely were. They were also drug dealers. And many of those people, including those sick old men, know exactly who Natalie and Alicia were. Where were they getting their fucking drugs? From Ted Bollinger, through his daughters. You guys say, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. Are you sharing my story? Are you speaking up? Are you even listening to my story? Are you understanding the hell that I have to go through because I can't take care of myself? I can't take care of myself because of the consequences of abuse over this slander. That includes physical abuse. That includes sexual abuse. There are things you just don't do. And even though they're illegal and there's supposed to be services that help you when you're abused, they don't fucking exist. You're blown off. They were able to get away with abusing me repeatedly by cutting me off from help. By literally driving me hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of miles from anyone who can help, and by cutting me off from communicating with the one person in the area who could and was supposed to be helping me. Through all of this, my advocate should have been involved in all of it, every fucking bit of it, to make sure that my rights were not violated, but she didn't give a shit beforehand or after. It didn't make any fucking difference to her. Now, there's her assumption of the situation and others' assumptions of the situation. Maybe they should have listened to the situation, actually listened. I don't have the money for this, so that makes it okay. No, that doesn't make it fucking okay. For these guys intentionally going out of their way to try to run down the clock so that everything gets taken, this is not okay. This is going to allow predators nationwide to get away with it. At this point, it is obvious that Adult Protective Services, Department of Health and Human Services, and any local department are going to go out of their way to cover each other's asses and make sure that none of this sees the light of day. It's because none of you give a fuck. When you get busted fucking lying, you whine like fucking mules and pretend like I'm some terrible, horrible person who stabbed you in the back. No. You had every chance to come forward and tell the truth instead of manipulating me. If the things that you told me are true, you needed to take those things to the police. If they weren't true, well, it's a felony to manipulate me like that. That's the thing about the developmental disability shit. Not that it's going to be enforced, because that's also their excuse for not looking. That's their excuse for not even looking at the evidence. Oh, well, the cops said this. Well, how about we look at the evidence? No, I think because you're trying to turn in the cops, we're going to do what the cops said. And then we're only going to listen to the cops. And anything that you say, we're going to pretend is bullshit. We're not going to look at any evidence. No, we can't be doing that. We can't be looking at evidence of abuse, because that would make us liable. Here's the problem. It's that right now they're not liable. It's far worse. It's criminal negligence. But, of course, people have to speak up, and if they don't, and they force me to record them, they have only themselves to thank for forcing that situation. By allowing a false narrative to continue that is getting me and my loved ones threatened. I do take that very seriously. And you want to tell me that I'm selfish for not thinking about your kids? No, 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 no. I am thinking about your kids. I'm also thinking about my own family, dumbass. That's where all of this started. That's where all of this got out of fucking control. Me being victimized and having my friends and family threatened before Natalie was killed. People like Tim Beeson. Alright, where the hell's my lighter? Chelsea is allowed to have her legitimate beef. She's allowed. Her gripe is legitimate. The hell that she's living through is very real, but so is mine. And I could help her the way that I told her that I would. Not keeping my word is not something that I want to do. I'd like to keep my word every single time. But there's stuff that I don't get to choose. Like when my vehicle breaks down. But you know what? I'm not going to hide the fact that my vehicle broke down. If you want me to speak up in court and admit that it's not that I didn't care, I wanted to help and I was making efforts to try to help, but I wasn't able to help. I'll admit that I wasn't able to help. That it is not your fault, that you did reach out for help, that you were trying to get help. I will absolutely admit those things. And the problem with most of these other folks is, you know, it's not like I'm asking them to admit to murdering somebody, because none of us had any part in that murder. None of us had any part in her death. None of us chose that for her. Why was my gas cap off? If it's over half the tank, I'm going to be scared of what might be in it. I did walk around over on the hill here and wasn't paying much attention to it or looking in that direction, so. But I doubt anybody messed with it. There's a chance I took it off earlier to check something and don't remember what. Sometimes when it gets hot out, the gas will stop working right. And the thing I can do to make the gas work right is to remove the gas cap and allow it to burp and then screw the gas cap back on. That depends on how hot it is out. I understand that people are not obligated to keep their word, but they also understand that I'm not obligated to keep my mouth shut. I'm not obligated to keep my evidence to myself. I'm not obligated to keep my recordings to myself. I'm not obligated to keep my screenshots to myself. I am not obligated to keep my hospital records to myself. I am not obligated to keep anything to myself. So, you being embarrassed because you did screwed up shit, so what? So what if you're embarrassed? So what if you are embarrassed? You're not the one going through this. And no matter how much you want to try to play victim, no, absolutely. None of you get to cry wolf in this. As if you were kicked in the teeth by me. No, you kicked me in the teeth. If you didn't care enough to speak up, you shouldn't have said that you would. The other thing is, you want to tell me how honest you are, but that shows that you're not. And I'll tell you why. Because you tell me you're honest after you've lied to me. Now, if you want to say your words didn't come together correctly, I can understand that. If you want to say that you were frustrated, I can understand that too. And do you understand that when I'm being abused and I try to speak up about it, when you continually interrupt me, when it's the abuse that I'm going through, that I'm trying to get help with, and you want to continually stop and interrupt me and talk about you? You want to tell me to forget about stuff, but you go on a fucking flashback trip back to 1978 about some fucked up shit that happened. Then you tell me I need to just let it go. No, there is no just letting it go. Their situation and scenario is nothing like mine. There's a lot of people who want to tell me that going to court and telling the truth and actually trying the justice system together, that's the only way it's going to work. Kind of like capitalism. It's okay to rip somebody off as long as it's just you and them. Now, of course, if you get somebody else in on it, then yeah, you can rip somebody off for a whole hell of a lot more. But then you got to worry about if that person rolls over on you. And nearly all these people who kicked me in the teeth, I got recordings of their own families rolling over on them. That's right. Terry Jepson did not say nice things about Brandon or Jason. I got screenshots of what Kim had to say about Jason. When I say that Chelsea's got a legitimate gripe, I mean it. But she don't have a legitimate gripe with me. In all these years and all of the hours that she has wasted arguing with me over whether or not coming forward and telling the truth is going to work, well, you know, that's an awful fucking waste of time. And I know she doesn't want to. It's the way that she talks over me, of course, mid-sentence especially. Starts telling me all these reasons that she can't. Well, if she can't because of those reasons, that's what I needed her to tell the cops. That's what I needed her to call and tell this place. But she needed to do it with me. With me. I told all of these people, anything that you tell me, you need to tell the cops. That's the thing, is that they wanted to claim that they did, but show me no evidence of it. And of course, I get called schizophrenic because these people didn't come forward. They didn't come forward in court. Didn't even try. Of course, there was a lot of that sleight of hand situations where I was completely and entirely separated from the ability to communicate with people. And that only worked out in my predator's favor. They figured rather than doing an investigation and arresting the public servants who didn't do their job, that they'd just ignore the situation and allow me to be victimized over and over and over again until I have a mental fucking breakdown. And then they'll pretend I'm some sort of an evil criminal mastermind. Lovely. Or a evil criminal idiot. In either case, none of the things that I had to do that I have ever been forced to do. If people hadn't threatened to kill my friends and family, it never would have gotten as desperate as it did. To this day, there's only one person in the Bollinger family who I've ever threatened physical harm against. That is Ted Bollinger. Not only do I admit to it now, I admitted to it when it happened, because I not only said it loud and proud on YouTube and Facebook, I made sure everybody heard it. This is a very serious situation, and the amount of money that has been wasted to prevent me from showing evidence, and they don't have the resources for anything anywhere, right? Well, they sure got the resources to cover up the crimes of their fucking officers. Here's the thing about defunding the police. They're eating that shit up. They're using that as every excuse to do absolutely nothing. See, this isn't about doing the right thing. This is about a power struggle for the police. This is about the police going, hey, if we do absolutely nothing at all, then the American people will let us be Nazis again. Maybe they'll let us go after the homeless and the disabled with impunity, since we're not allowed to go after black people anymore. And you see, a black man fighting for black rights, that's a powerful thing. A person with mental disabilities from abuse trying to fight for people who have disabilities from abuse, that's a different thing altogether. They're not humans to you. They need to shut up and go to the back of the bus. Excuse me, says I. But that ain't okay. Hood River Police Department repeatedly made severe safety issues. I'm trying to turn them in, and I need help turning them in. It is my right to turn them in, and it is not their right to prevent me from doing so. They've dragged this shit out for 6 months by sending me repeatedly to the same people who don't do their fucking job. Over and over again. Now with Chelsea having to make all these calls by herself, you know what? I'd be more than willing to make the calls with her and to help her out in that scenario, to be her second man. But I need somebody to help me with that too. With all these people who are saying, oh, I can't even tell the truth, Sean, because my life is too busy and I'm doing too much. Well, yeah, and you're not getting anywhere. The United States government is showing loud and proud it does not care about its people. It cares about power and control. We need to stop worrying about elections and start worrying about human beings. We need to wipe the slate clean and establish humanitarian laws instead of laws that help to harm the victim. I was denied the right to turn in my predators, so I was never allowed a victim's rights advocate. I needed help turning in my predators because of how many agencies were involved already before Natalie was killed, who did not do their jobs as mandated reporters. Do you think they want to admit that? Do you think Nicole Peralta is going to admit that? Fuck this goddamn country and everybody in it. Don't ever tell me what I owe a soldier in the United States military. I don't owe them shit. Matter of fact, they all owe me their lives because I'm the one fighting for their rights, not the other way around. Good to be rid of you. Thanks for coming to visit. Stay out of trouble or don't get caught. Remember, you are your brother's keeper and no victim left behind.